Hello there, welcome back. Today we've got an exam question on DNA sequencing and bioinformatics when it comes to vaccinations. So pause the video here, try this question out and continue on to see how I answer it. There is quite a lot that's going on in this. So first up, we're going to read the question. So it says, outline how DNA sequencing in bioinformatics could be used to increase the effectiveness of a vaccination program against Ebola. Okay, so I would rephrase this into so how is DNA sequencing and bioinformatics used to make vaccinations programs? Then I would go define each term. So what is DNA sequencing? I would think back to my notes. What is bioinformatics? I would think back to my notes. There's a lot of misconception with bioinformatics. Either you know it or you don't. And if you don't know it, this is a great way to think about it. You have a bunch of data, okay? So much data. There's so much analysis. There's so much, so many people that's working on the information, the data that they have, and they can use it for useful things, okay? It's just like an image if you need one to try and imagine what the hell bioinformatics is. So in terms of the question, for this, right, I would read the information up the top of the page because I feel like it's going to help or guide me really of how I should think about it. So let's read. Just skimming through, I've highlighted the most important parts that I think will help me to answer the question. So they are: the DNA of Ebola virus has a rapid rate of mutation, and our scientists developed something, and that's used to sequence rapidly the entire Ebola genome. So in terms of the first part, DNA of Ebola virus has a rapid rate of mutation. Well, because we talk about vaccinations here, they really go hand in hand. The reason why DNA sequencing is so useful or can be used to increase the effectiveness of vaccination programs is because if there's a high mutation rate, what does that mean? Well, there's many strains of the virus that exist, right? But then with DNA sequencing, you're sequencing the genome essentially. So how can that be linked to vaccinations? Well, it can be used to predict viral antigens. Okay, but then we talk about vaccinations here, right? What do we know? We know that vaccinations, they need the antigen of the virus, right? So then the vaccine, contains the correct antigen because it was already predicted because of DNA sequencing. Do you notice how once you get started, right? Once you know what the first thing you should probably say is, you can ask yourself, okay, what does this mean? What does this lead to? Those questions that you ask in your head, like I did, I performed it for you, really, really help, Loads of students, they, including myself back in the day, I used to say a point, but I wouldn't back it up or I wouldn't continue on with that line of thinking, and I would just get 1 out of 3. What's going on? Unacceptable. So yeah, asking yourself a line of questions is very useful. Now, onto bioinformatics. At these points, I'd recommend you just memorize them. Reason being is because this basically is describing what is bioinformatics. So yeah, definitely copy down those points, but let's talk through them. So access to large amount of data, as I've told you, this picture kind of illustrates it, and it's literally it's not even real life, So yeah. Next part, information is, no, it's not useful, sorry, that's not what I meant to say. It's universal, so meaning it can basically be used from everyone, but also DNA, everything like that is the same across countries and stuff. Next one, can identify source of outbreak. Because you've got all this data, because you can track where the spread of viruses or stuff like that are going, you can identify where is it started, and then you can identify vulnerable populations, right? Bioinformatics is so, let's just say, it's very much easy to understand, having gone through the pandemic, all of us now, right? Because all these points back in the day, pandemic, we probably wouldn't have understood these points to the level we can understand now, right? Identify vulnerable populations. Look at the news. That's what happened, right? Elderly population, people who are pregnant, people who have HIV, stuff like that. They were identified. Or where is the source of the outbreak? Where did it start? Who is it going to next? Where is it gone? You know? So bioinformatics is actually a really interesting field, knowing what we know now. So yeah, that's a 4 marker. So remember, the 2 most important exam techniques are read the question first and state all the obvious points. Now over to you. Try some questions and let me know how it goes.